So one of the challenges here was finding the nice slabs that would fit the opening and look really nice as a piece of wall art. This is a massive 1.8, 1.9 wide by 2.4 high door, so it's really big. Needed some epic English oak slabs to do it. As you can see here, they're so heavy, I'm lifting them up with a forklift. Then we had a bit of a tricky installation on site. It all went okay in the end with the plasterboard and the off stands. And I'll take you through, if you stick around on the video, I'll take you through here not only the prepping and preparing the wood for the wall art, but also some in-depth on Odies. How to finish this was done with Odies Dark, so there'll be a good in-depth on how I finish with Odies as well. So if you're using resin or bringing big live slabs into a building, whether it be a table or whatever, you need to get the moisture content down. I always get asked what that is. I find in the UK somewhere between about 9 and 11 is about average. Most of this stuff has been air dried for a long time. I just put it in my kiln for a couple of weeks and that usually gets it down to about 9. Yours in? No. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it needs getting in. You might need to clamp it. This last bit will be a clamp, so here you go. Okay, so I'm using glass cast 3 here. I've got a pretty hot heat gun on. So I'm actually causing it to kind of exotherm, so it will set really quickly. Be ready to completely harden by the end of today, certainly in the morning. The key with any fills and repairs with resin is getting it to the bottom. It tends to want to kind of, where it hasn't been, it doesn't want to run or stick, and then sometimes there's sort of bubbles at the bottom that eventually find their way to the top while it's curing, and you've not got a neat job. So heating it up, certainly on small little patches, is a really quick way and efficient way to get your repairs done. The brush machine on this, my one's a Festool, and what you can see where I haven't used it, if you look there, the grain is pretty level, and if you look here, you can see all the softwood has gone. and leaving these ridges. Really good effect. When you oil it, it gives a really, this is not a table, so it's not going to be used, this is a door vertical, so we're not worried about it not being fully sealed or being too rough to put a cup on. I actually didn't want to flatten this on the router sled because it would have looked really boring. So there is actually undulations in this. You can see there's a dip where it didn't get flattened. I did run it on the router sled, but I just took the tops off and the really bad bits. Then I'm finishing it all with this beast here. I had Makita before. This is 10 times more the beast. And the brush machine, and then occasionally the brush on here, which I've done a video for. So kind of all three of those are going. Looks a bit like a Festool advert, I'm sorry about that, but that's just the machines I like to use. All three of those to attack this, and it's going to be completely done by hand, taking me all day long to get this finished. And then this is going to have Odies at the end, which I'll buff in. So one of the issues, you can see here where I've had to sand up to the resin and the grain has gone smooth around it. Now the big brush machine from Festool, obviously that's going to come and hit that, but what you can use is just this cheap brush. I think this one's from my Amazon shop. This cheap brush, and I'll just show you, this is before, and then I'll show you an after. Now you can see we've got all the grain, lift here, matches in. So just using a cheap brush like that, you could do a whole table like that. I mean, it's easier with the big wide flat brushes just because of you know, keeping it level. But you can see how that works. So really good effect. So gone up to 150 grit all over. I'm going to go up to 180 because I want it to really pop, really shine. When you get to the 180s and the 240s, you won't be digging in these grooves because it's just so fine. You'll just be shining the tops and giving it that extra contrast. So if you're interested in any of these marking out tools or that drill aid, which keeps the drill nice and straight, really good. I bought it on Banggood. I've got an affiliated link, so you're helping out the channel if you buy anything from it. And it's really handy. There's some videos if you go back through on lots of this Banggood stuff. Some of it's really good bargains and very useful. So I took this on site, made it up so I could measure, just check the width, measure it all, see how it run on the rail, because it's obviously a lot lighter than taking the door. So I'll use that to mark out the template top holes, just as easy to drill through the actual steel rather than trying to align it. It's perfect then. That's actually ready to oil with the Odies dark. Leave it 40 minutes, rub it all off, turn it over, roll the back, leave it 40 minutes, rub it all off, and then it's ready to go. Okay, so I'm just using a white Scotch-Brite pad on here. You can just do it by hand. Most people do it with a little off-cut of Scotch-Brite like that, and just rub it in. I'm doing quite a big area and I'm used to it. The key is, I've said it before, this is Odies oil, the key is don't put too much on because it's getting it off. That makes it waterproof in terms of your stains and stuff. Excuse me. And the more you put on, the harder, and the too thick you put on, the much harder it is to get off, and you tend to leave patches, and that's where it breaks down. So tiny bits on at a time, loads of massaging into the wood. So here's a good before and after. This is one panel, Odies, absolutely killer. And this is the non-Odies panel. Look at the difference, it's insane. Now that is the dark Odies. That really makes a rich colour. For a panel like this, it's going to look great where it's going. It's going to be hung like a kind of piece of wall art that will slide over an opening occasionally when the clients want to shut the door. Really lovely there. Just going to add a little finger slot. If you come from the other side, I don't think the client's going to do it that much, but just in case they're in the gym area and the door's shut behind them, I want them to be able to get out. There is another door out into the grounds, so they wouldn't be trapped anyway, but this isn't the only way in and out of the room. I'd like to give them the option just in case. Just a terry toweling pad, buff it off after about 40 minutes, maximum 24 hours. This is a door, so all we've got to do, one coat is absolutely plenty. Give us a really good buff. And what I do is I throw a terry towel on the bottom of the buffer, buff it off. If it's still on the terry towel, I keep buffing until the terry towel is clean, basically. Then just wash all the towels you've used. That's the most guaranteed way I've found of using the Odies oil, rather than trying to check it. You can check it with your fingers. If this terry towel is completely white and free of oil, then the oil's all in the wood and you've done a good job. Simple as that. So here's where the sliding door's going, and this is our temporary. Got our welded bar there. Just going to come along and get all those marks now. So we've got this core drill and we've got a spacer, removing plasterboard, and there's the spacer covered by this. Like a train coming into the station.